Hey, it's Brian JT Watts here with another episode of Come Together. Think you will enjoy this one. So sit back and relax. I'm going to be interviewing my man, Earnest Flowers, and he's got a lot to share with you. So after the intro, I'll be talking to Ernest Flowers. Come on back with us. This is the greatest game of telephone that has ever been played. Someone said the black man doesn't raise his kids or care for his family, and that message is still being told to everyone today. They even have us saying,
"We are not a monolith. We have various opinions and thoughts. We are much more than what we are portrayed to be by the media.
Even when we are the victims of injustice, we are still portrayed as the perpetrators. When it comes to the black man, there is an intentional plan to discredit the past, arrest the present, and destroy the future. Something must be done, but nothing will work until we come together." Welcome, viewers, to this episode of Come Together. Today, I am honored to interview one of my friends, Earnest Flowers. I'm just gonna jump right in and let Ernest tell you about what he does, because I'm sure he can tell you best. So, let the viewers know who you are and what you're currently doing with your life now.
Well, first of all, I'm Brian's humble servant. That's first of all. But after that, I have a small business consulting company, EF3 Consulting. And so I help small businesses, uh, you know, whether doesn't matter what stage they're at, whether it's an embryonic stage or they've been around for several years. So I try to bring that kind of Fortune 500 consulting to the small business arena. And I specialize in helping them get contracts with the city, New York City, New York State, the Port Authority, and even the federal government. So that's my passion.
That's great. That's great. Now, our show Come Together it was made and designed to expose, positive black men to the community and to expose the positive things that they're doing. And that's the things that you're doing right now are great, because I think a lot of businesses miss that connection. People are struggling to get somewhere and they don't realize how easy it might be, or what the things that the federal government or even the state government might have for them to be able to be successful. They don't know how to get in touch with people, and you being that conduit to sort of go between and pull them together, that's a real positive thing for our community. So I want to, on behalf of everybody, thank you for that. That's very positive. Now, there's something else that you have done that is amazing. I know that we've been friends for a long time, and I've seen a lot of our friends are very excited about what you've done out there in Queens, and everybody's just so happy that something like this has happened. So I want you to let our viewers know about your store that you have now. It's in Queens. What part of Queens is that?
Jamaica.
Jamaica. Oh, that's the heart. That's that's the heartbeat of Queens. So please let them know about your store and the effect that it's having on the community out there.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We started Earnest Foods. Earnest meaning serious, so we're serious about your food. And it's a natural and organic, full-fledged grocery store. So we have all organic produce. We have poultry that's organic. You could trace it to the farm.
Wow.
We have lamb and beef that are grass-fed. And we have a lot of natural and organic dry goods as well. Many brands that you don't often see in some of our neighborhoods. You may have to go out to Manhattan or way out to Long Island to see some of these brands, but we bring them right here in our neighborhood and try to be as competitive and as affordable as possible. I used to work for our local state senator, Senator Leroy Comrie. He's currently the chairperson for the New York State Committee on Authorities, Agencies, and Commissions and Corporations. And we tried to get entities like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods to move into some of our areas for the longest, but for whatever reason, it's not a part of their business plan. or strategy. So we knew that the community can support it. So, that's what we did. We put it together. And so not only do we have this natural and organic, high quality grocery store, we also have, as of today, 26 Black owned companies in the store.
Wow.
So, and each to next product, next to each product, I didn't have any water today. Next to each product, we have a little picture and bio of that person, that CEO or that owner.
Okay.
So there'll be some national brands that you may know, like Zach and Zoe Honey. So we'll have them, but then we have 90% of them are local people that do juices and ice cream and ices, and we even have a Black farm upstate that gives us organic eggs.
Wow.
So we have 26 companies, and they're all hair care products, beauty products. They're all doing phenomenal, and especially in our juice and beverage area, those companies sell out every single week. I'm very proud of them.
Listen, that's more than I even knew what was going on. I mean, a lot of us were proud just to see a store like that in the community. But it seems like you're making sure that the community sees itself in your store. And that's big. That's something that I think helps our community to thrive, because just like as me as a teacher, in schools, when students see Black male teachers or just Black teachers and they're Black kids, they start to realize, oh, this is something I can do. You start to see your products in the store more than just Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. You start to realize, okay, these are not just characters on the face of something. These are people that I know, or people that look like me, that are actually producing these things, actually putting these things together, and something that's positive, not something that's going to hurt my body or something that's going to be bad for me. So I'm definitely impressed with that. Now, tell me, I had a conversation on the show maybe a week or so ago, with an old friend of ours, Steve Blackburn, who now goes by Hakeem Ali. We were talking about food, and he's in Maryland. We were talking about eating healthy and things like that for our community, and the fact that in the urban areas, the food that's affordable is not good for you. Okay, and our community seems to get attached to those things as if that's a cultural norm for us, to eat bad. Our cultural norm is to eat those things that are cheap and that are bad for our body. And to me, that's the reason why people say we have, a predisposition to diabetes and all of these other things. How has the community responded to the organic foods and all of the good things that you're providing in the store out there in Jamaica, Queens?
The community has responded. The response has been fantastic. Of course, there is kind of a learning curve with certain segments of the population. Why organic, and we educate them when they come into the store. We have brochures and signs that briefly talk about why organic, talk about the benefits of having produce without pesticides and herbicides on them, and how the vitamin content is even increased by some organic products that we sell. So it's been tremendous. We have a local nutritionist that jumped on board with us, and she's now our store nutritionist, and she has her own practice not too far away from our store, and so she's able to educate the population, and we give them her cards, and they are able to call her. She's going to be doing commercials. We have about 7 giant flat TV screens in the store. Okay. And so she's going to be doing commercials on there, along with some of our other vendors and in-house presentations. So the community has really come out in full force. We have civic organizations that have supported us, churches, all the elected officials have come out to the store, from our senator to assembly person to council person. And we even had some sororities that had what they call "quote unquote" cash mobs, where they come in and just buy. And a couple sororities have come in and bought us out at least on 2 occasions.
Okay.
And that's very powerful. So we've had a great response.
Now, I'm looking at the time that we're in, not just because of the pandemic, but even before the pandemic, it seemed that healthiness was becoming something that people started to realize, okay, that's something I need to do. When we were younger, I know that veganism, vegetarianism weren't popular. My dad has been a vegan since 1979.
Wow.
Okay, right. And I told somebody that, they said, "Oh, he's the original vegan." But I was like, that's a long time ago. And when my dad started to be vegan, there was not a lot of vegan products. Okay, the few products he could find were very, how can I say, they were very raw. Stone ground wheat breads, and they were probably very good for us, but they weren't as palatable as things are now, and they weren't as popular. You couldn't find them anywhere.
Yes.
So I like the fact that in this time of health awareness, that you're coming out with something like this. Because had you come out with had there been a store like this back in the '80s, it would have been shut down immediately. You know what I'm saying? There wouldn't have been, people wouldn't have understood why they need to buy organic versus whatever else was in the store. How is the competition? Because I'm sure Jamaica had their own stores that people were going to all the time. People bought their food. Is there any type of problem with other grocery stores or other stores saying, "Hey, well, we want to try to become more healthy as well," or is there an issue with you selling, on the table type things in your store in that community?
Yep. There definitely is competition, but our direct competition is maybe 25 minutes away.
Okay.
The Whole Foods and the Trader Joe's.
Oh, y'all have, that's right. You're in Queens, so you have all those out there. I keep forgetting that Queens is,
They're not in Queens, but they're in Long Island. So
right over across the line. And
so they're right across.
Queens, that's a very blurred line from Queens to Long Island. But yeah, it's funny how Queens sort of bleeds into a suburban area from being urban, and that's always been the uniqueness of Queens.
Yeah.
In the Bronx, yeah, you might bleed into Mount Vernon, but it's still the Bronx. Manhattan, you don't have that. You don't have that really in Brooklyn as much, but definitely in Queens, you're so close to the suburban area that can happen. So you got a little ways, and you got a Walmart out there in Long Island as well, which we don't have.
We Walmart, and we have a Aldi's, which is the little brother to Trader Joe's in Green Acres Mall, which is right on the outskirts of Queens and Valley Stream. So
Right.
so those would be kind of direct competitors, but they're not close
Okay.
as far as what we consider close.
Right.
And then we have our secondary competitors, which would be the regular grocery stores,
Right.
like the Key Foods and Stop and Shops. Ironically, a lot of stores, or many stores, since we opened and talked about being open, have really increased their organic selections in their stores, which is very interesting. Even the local CVS.
Wow.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
That's big.
So a lot of them have increased their organic and natural brands that they never really had before. So what they say, the rising tide raises all ships. So
yeah, you're not lying. You're not lying. I mean, you're affecting the community. Yeah, that's a positive effect. I mean, of course, that effect can change your bottom line, but the fact is you're affecting the community in a way that's positive, and people are starting to realize that that's the way they should eat. I a few years ago, I was lucky enough to go and work in the Middle East, in Kuwait, and one of the things that I noticed when I got there almost immediately was the food source. Now, Kuwait is basically a desert. I mean, there's big cities and everything there, but they don't grow a whole lot of food there because it's a desert. A lot of food was imported, and one of the greatest things for me. I always loved grocery shopping, but going grocery shopping there was a lot different because almost everything was imported. So it would say these are Argentinian oranges or these are South African grapes or whatever it was. And I was able to choose, even from the same fruits, what country I wanted to get them from. But I kept looking for organic food and I couldn't understand why I didn't see it anywhere. And I found out the reason I couldn't find organic food is because that was the only kind of food there was.
Exactly.
We don't sell anything else. And so it made me start to question. And I talked to all of my American friends that were over there with me. What the heck were we eating if it's not organic? Because people are saying to us, this is the only way food is supposed to be grown. And so, what is the stuff that we're eating that's not organic? You know, it doesn't seem to make sense. And it wasn't very expensive. The only expense that came from food was wherever they had to import it from, how much ever, it took to get there. So something simple for us, like collard greens, was super high over there, where I might get 10 leaves for $5.
Yeah.
But other
We
things,
have great organic collard greens, by the way.
oh well, no, listen, I'm definitely coming up there, so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, it's so amazing to see in other countries that people say are third world countries and countries that are behind us in certain things, that they're ahead of us in nutrition and that people aren't starving. I've been to the islands in the Caribbean and I saw that I could walk down the street and they said if something was growing outside of somebody's gates, that was fair game for you to eat. If a tree was hanging over their gate and there was fruit on that, you could eat that. So there were people who were homeless, but there weren't people that were hungry. What is your store doing to help if anything, right now? Because I know you're still new, to help the sort of the hunger issue in Jamaica, Queens.
Well, a couple things. One, the issue is not as significant as it used to be,
Oh,
because the state has implemented some financial stimuli that have or stimulus that have helped some other larger grocery stores open up in the area, giving them tax breaks and things of that nature.
Okay.
So it's not really a food desert like it used to be, but definitely there's still a lack of the highest quality of selections around. So what we've done is, one, we donate much of our produce. We have great produce, but when you have organic produce on the shelves, once a few days pass, or several days, it may start to look a little funny.
Right.
It's still great inside, nothing's wrong with it, but to the eye, psychologically, the customer may not want it. So we donate perfectly good stuff to our various church pantries.
Okay.
We have a number of churches that we do that to, and our churches do a phenomenal job. And we've had a great relationship with pantries from COVID, when we first implemented the testing initiative at pantries during the heart of the pandemic. So we have those connections, so we're able to donate produce there. And then also we have these things called community fridges or refrigerators that are outside of certain stores in certain areas, where anyone can just open a fridge and take any produce or items that are in the fridge. So they've been sponsored by a few of our elected officials and a few civic organizations. So we've been asked to, supply the fridges from time to time. So we do that as well.
That's amazing. I mean, you're really blowing my mind with this, because I haven't lived in New York for a little while. It's been a couple years. I moved out in 2018, the last time I moved out, and it seems like a lot has changed since then. That's very good, because hunger and poverty were just things that occurred. We weren't even. Not to say we weren't bothered by it, but it became so common that it was something that we just knew we were going to see on a daily basis. And it seems like you're really taking care of a lot of that out there. I know that as an educator, to me, education is one of the biggest things that's going to help change any issue that we have. Is there any thought to maybe moving something like this to other boroughs, to the Bronx, to Brooklyn, I know Manhattan would be pretty hard, but you still have Uptown Harlem and Washington Heights and all of that. Are there any ideas for you personally, or any that you see from the system that y'all have implemented in Queens that could move around the rest of the city to try to change the rest of the city as well?
Well, certainly, short term and long term, we would love to open up other iterations of our store. Uh, Another section of Queens would be Far Rockaway.
Okay.
Nassau County and Suffolk County are great candidates. The rest of the 5 boroughs as well. And then you have at least 3 cities in New Jersey. That would be perfect. There's Springfield, Massachusetts, and there's Hartford or Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Wow.
So these are all areas that are similar to our area, and where the population is mixed, but it can, as far as economic income is concerned,
Right.
but it can also support a store of this nature. So definitely expansion is in the plan.
Okay, great. Now, I mean, I'm actually very. I don't know if it shows on my face. I'm very excited about this whole idea. I live in Maryland now, and I go to my sister's gotten me to different farms that are out here. When I lived in Tennessee, I had some friends who had farms, and they introduced me to other farmers, and it was very different for this South Bronx boy to
Mm.
be shopping at farms where somebody's giving me eggs that were just hatched. I mean, not just laid. I mean, not hatched. They were just laid. I remember going to a store that was similar to the store you have to buy chicken, and I said, "Why is this chicken so expensive?" And they said, "Because that chicken was running around this morning." And I was like, "Oh, wow!" I mean, to taste things that are
And
fresh.
it probably wasn't as big as you would usually see chicken
Oh,
in regular stores.
listen.
You see how a chicken really looks when it's not on certain.
Right, exactly. When I was in Kuwait, the chicken wings were this big. And it was funny because so many of us came from the States and we ordered chicken wings. And when we got them, we were like, oh, so I no longer eat 10 now, I eat 20 because it's small. I bought chicken thighs and chicken legs and breast. And when I would cook them, people were like, how many pieces are you going to eat? And I'm like, I don't know, 6. And they were like, 6 pieces of chicken. And I was like, did you see these pieces of chicken? I mean, this is what a chicken looks like. And a chicken is not supposed to be, humongous. The wings that I saw when I came back looked like turkey wings to me because that's what turkeys look like over there. And I was like, this is odd, So to start to see farm fresh things here, I see it here and I saw it over there. And I'm starting to realize that when somebody raises things the way that they used to be raised and just naturally, there's a big difference because we're not trying to influence the market or get more money for it. We're just trying to live healthy. And I really like the fact that this knowledge is also coming out with it because without the knowledge, people wouldn't know why they should shop at your store. They don't understand why organic might be better. And truthfully, in a lot of stores that I saw, I would see avocado and right next to it, organic avocado. The organic ones cost maybe a couple dollars more, but they're right next to each other and people are mixing them up now. I mean, what's going on? I don't know which one is which. The bins are getting messed up. People are picking up one and putting it in another plate. I'm like, so truthfully, how can I tell the difference? I can't see it. If I know that this is an organic place, or I know this is where the organic stuff is, I know that's what I might want to do. So tell me this for the viewers. What is the big difference between what we would call, let's say we're talking about avocado or apples? What's the difference between the organic ones and the ones who are, I'll say for lack of a better term, inorganic?
Well, certified. Well, there's a difference because certain things are organic, but you really want to look for certified organic because that way you know that they're held accountable for what they say they are. And so, the main difference is basically the organics should be free of many of the antibiotics and pesticides and herbicides,
Okay.
depending on what type of product it is. If
Okay.
it's fruit or vegetables, If it's poultry, their feed is organic. So that's why the eggs can say organic eggs, because
Right.
the feed, or sometimes our eggs even say soy-free eggs, and people are like, soy-free eggs, what does that mean? That means the chicken is not eating soy. We're
Right.
not being fed soy, just as our beef is grass-fed.
Right.
They're not being fed grains.
Okay.
So those are the basic differences. There are also studies that show that produce grown organically have a higher concentration of certain vitamins, and obviously for the environment, if it's certified organic, they're not harming the environment.
Okay.
They're actually they actually have sustainable practices,
Okay.
and these places are inspected as well.
Okay. Does that deal with the soil too?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
The soil, you can't just say, "Hey, I want to apply for an organic farm." No, that soil has to be organic for a significant amount of time before it can even be deemed certified organic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's big. That's some big education right there, because I think that for the most part, and I don't like to expose people's ignorance, but for the most part, organic just meant cost more to most people. I mean, that's all, because we didn't see anything else. We didn't know, we don't, if we're not living someplace where there's a farm or where people are growing things. You see an apple, and this apple costs $1, but the organic one costs $3. I'm going to buy the one for $1 if that's all I have. I'm trying to eat well. I want an apple. And so a lot of people might not know what these terms mean. I mean, a lot of things, when the GMO stuff came out and all of these other things came, a lot of people had no idea what these things meant, because there was no big education for the community. And I think that finance can keep you from even looking to find some education. Not just the fact that that it's not readily available for you, but if the way you're eating is the way that you can afford to eat, then you might not even want to know what the rest of the stuff is, because then you have a dilemma against your pocket now, and you're like, well, how do I do this? How do I sustain this type of diet? When we look at New York, and a lot of people I've talked to don't understand why New York is called the Big Apple. A lot of people tease us for being city dwellers, and they swear we don't have grass, and we don't have this, that, and the other. They don't know about the huge parks we have in New York City, in the Bronx and in Manhattan. Not just talking about Queens and Brooklyn, but the Bronx and Manhattan have some of the biggest parks in New York City. And they don't understand that the rest of New York State, especially right outside of the city, is basically an apple orchard. There's a lot of fruits and vegetables in our state, and that are shipped down to our city. A lot of that. What can be done to sort of improve this reputation of our city to be healthy and be that type of city that's just, people realize, okay, not only is New York Wall Street and Broadway and the fashion district, but now they are a place where people can eat healthy, because there's been a lot of healthy stores in New York for years. We didn't own them. There's been a lot of vegan stores, a lot of vegetarian stores all the time coming up, vegetarian restaurants, all of this stuff. How is what you're doing right now, Earnest Foods and everything that you're involved with? How is that going to help to change the reputation of our city from just
Yes,
the place with the best pizza?
exactly. It does have the best pizza, that's for
Yeah.
sure. I had a lot of fights in college over that.
Oh, we were there together. Don't
We had to let them know. But speaking of college, speaking of perception and college, when I got to college, arrived at college, it was hilarious to me that some people were amazed that we had a zoo in New York.
Right.
They didn't know about the Bronx Zoo,
That's right.
and they made all kind of wisecracks that we were not being truthful in saying that we had a zoo, but we had one of the largest zoos in the country.
Central Park Zoo, where the movie what's it called, Madagascar, is
Yeah.
about. I mean, we have a couple of zoos, and both botanical gardens and all of that. So
Yeah, Botanical Garden, the most gorgeous botanical garden probably in the country.
that's right.
But yeah, perception is everything. I think what you're doing here is a big part of it. Social media, and just putting a a different front and more information out regarding, what New York has to offer. Like I mentioned before, that we have a farm upstate that gives us organic eggs, and there's so many farms upstate New York, farms in Long Island as well. So it's just a matter of social media. It's just a matter of marketing, just a matter of platforms like this to let people know that, we're more than just concrete.
I mean, I'm definitely willing to push it as much as possible, because I think that one of the best things that happens from somebody starting something like this is that it becomes contagious and it grows.
Yes.
And I know that there are people who have the money, who have the connections, but did not have the idea, or didn't realize that it was something that needed to be done. And as soon as they see somebody like you doing something like this, it's like, oh, wait, my community needs that. Let's do that here. And hopefully we can see something like this spread across our country, because we have a serious problem with people just dying from diseases that are foodborne, or disorders that are foodborne, or something that gets exacerbated by a bad diet. And I think that even though your store might have, there are people who are vegetarian who are like, oh, we don't eat meat. I'm like, okay, well, this store has meat, but you can get the stuff that you need. I'm not saying that every store has to be vegetarian, vegan, or even organic or GMO free. But when you have the option, it's a big difference. And you've provided an option for the community that you say is affordable, and that the money goes back into something that helps our community grow. The things you're doing to the refrigerators, the churches that you're providing food to, the hungry people that you're providing food to, all of that to me is something that's not normally seen in our capitalist society. We think that most people who are in business for themselves. They're not, if they do give something away, it's because that's a tax write-off or whatever. And, it's not usually something that's definitely going to make everything better around us. So I definitely want to commend you for that. Like I said, everybody who knows you, there's probably people who you haven't seen for years that saw when you came out on Facebook with everything, and they're just like, man, that's Earnest. Man, I'm proud of that dude. I mean, because you're in our age group, and we don't realize how old we are sometimes. And we're like, we're the changers. We're supposed to be making changes, or have made a change. And when somebody does something that positive and that big, it's we're proud. You know what I'm saying? We're proud to be like, yeah, I know that guy. He was one of my friends, and he's doing something big. So just know that there's a lot of people behind you if you need our help.
That's awesome.
Any of us that want to reach out, I would love. My goal is for ComeTogether in a few months or maybe a year to become mobile and to move around. So definitely would love to come do some things at your store. I do have some ideas to discuss with you, so definitely want to do that. But right now, I want you to be able to tell our viewers, if they're in the New York area or if they're visiting the New York area, how they can get to the store. And if there's an online presence for the store too, then let them know how they can tap into that.
Saying that reminds me of how powerful this sort of medium is, because I've had at least half a dozen individuals from out of state visit their relatives in Queens.
Right.
They know about our store, but their relatives in Queens didn't know. But they knew about our store and brought their relatives out.
That's right.
Social media because of this. So yeah, we're at the easiest address in the world. We're at 123-01 Merrick Boulevard.
Wow. You're on Merrick?
Merrick Boulevard. That's right.
Wait, you're on one of the busiest streets in Queens?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that makes this even better. Merrick Boulevard. If you're in Queens and you can't find Merrick Boulevard, you're not in Queens. I mean, something's wrong.
We're not too far from Roy Wilkins Park, one of the largest parks in Jamaica. So yeah, I'm actually a board member on the Roy Wilkins Park right now, Southern Queens Park Association.
Wow.
We have 123-01 Merrick Boulevard. That's Jamaica, Queens. And we've also partnered with a commercial kitchen that opened up not too far from our store on Guy Brewer. It's about 7 minutes away. this is powerful because in order for a baker or a caterer or anybody who makes food stuff to be able to legally create these things and or bake these things, make these things, and sell them in stores, you have to make them in a commercial kitchen. And commercial kitchens are certified by the Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
So this is a game changer in Southeast Queens. So this is the first Black-owned commercial kitchen in Queens, in Southeast Queens. So for the first time ever, bakers, caterers, whatever, have a place that they can rent. It's open 24 hours. You can go 3 a.m., 1 p.m., doesn't matter. They can rent space and create their food stuff. And so not only can they do their regular catering or baking or whatever they do, but they can also legally sell in stores. So they can sell in my store.
Wow.
But this also hurdles the barrier that many of the big box stores had. So the big grocery stores would always say, you have a nice local product here, but you don't make it in a commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
So now that barrier is gone.
Wow.
So now not only for my store, but they can sell their products in any store. So the commercial kitchen is doing phenomenal. They have more clients than they can take, and they're going to have to expand. And actually, the first person to bake out of there is one of our 26 Black-owned vendors. She's a vegan baker called Sassy Sweets Vegan Treats.
Okay.
And she makes challah breads and seeded breads and red velvet cookies and chocolate chip cookies and just a whole host of different types of baked goods. Okay. Yeah. So we're here. We're here to serve. Hopefully next year, our goal is to have 30% of our produce from Black farms, from upstate all the way down to Georgia. So that's a long-term goal. But we're here to serve.
Well, listen, man, I'm so impressed. Ernest, this has been great. I think this is probably, this is my 18th episode, but the fact that you are doing something for food, because everything else that I've talked about with most people is something that people might be interested or might not be interested. But there's nobody who I know that's not interested in food. I mean, it's something that's life-sustaining, something that you have to have. So I'm really happy to be able to get you on and to talk about all of this and to expose the viewers and everyone to all of this. So thank you so much, man. I'm really looking to get up there. I have been back and forth to New York since I'm not far, but I have to make it all the way out to Queens because that's definitely something I need to do. So before the new year, definitely try to get out there, let you know. And if I come to the store, I definitely want to see you in there because that's going to be a big part, no doubt. So listen, thanks so much. We will definitely be keeping track of you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll hopefully be doing some commercials soon for Earnest Foods as well. So hopefully we'll be able to keep people in tune and let them know about the store and everything. So thanks a lot for coming out, man.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Have a great one.
You too.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Hope you enjoyed the interview with Ernest Flowers. Doing great things out there in Queens. And hopefully that all the stuff he's doing will become contagious, spread around New York City, and we'll be able to get healthy alternatives for all of our New Yorkers and all the people in the country. So if you're in the area, please visit the store, 123-01 Merrick Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens, New York, and tell them that you saw it here on Come Together. Once again, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel, to like our channel here on YouTube, and to ring the bell for notifications so you can know when new shows come out. We're trying to do a lot to inform you, to express and show you positive Black men and the things they're doing in our community. And we want you to know. So go ahead and click that notification bell so you can know when it happens. All right. See you again next time on Come Together.